Hey guys, good morning. So, I'll go through to the basic things. How many of you did? Without knowing anything, you raise the hand. Okay. Okay. Let's continue from there. So last time we mainly stuck in the filter, right? Let's play with the filter. So instead of string, okay. Now what we seen it here like a so filter also it receiving the one functional interface, right? So now I am going to do the okay. So here if you want to check that interface only have the only one abstract method and the what is the return type boolean. So that means inside that you can play multiple filters if you want. Based on that you can return it. Simple. Okay. So let's implement that. Okay, predicate implementation boolean. So this is simple, right? So this is the implementation of that functional interface. Now I want to use the I have to pass the object. Okay. So I have to create the class for it. Let's pass the object. Okay, definitely this filter also going to return some value as a stream of integers. Let's store the even numbers or add numbers. So and then okay. It also returning a stream of integers. So next one we can print also. Simple. Yes, out. Print. Is there any doubt here? Not numbers, should be even numbers. Check on array of numbers. Okay. So can you anyone specify? So if I am trying to here do the for each, not a enhanced for loop. So this time it's showing some errors. Okay, let's run the code. Let's understand. Clear. Java. So here I got the error. So can anyone specify why the error was coming? Is it correct first of all? So what I did simply, so I did the filter. Okay. So in the filter what I did, I just wanted the only even numbers, right? So okay. After that I try to print the values. So here this is also one of the enhanced for loop. While I am trying this, I got the error. Okay. So you guys check it out why this error was coming. Okay. So if you have to print, we'll go with the for each. Compile the code successful. So here I only got the even numbers. Okay. So let me once recap. So what I did, I just used the filter method in the stream. Okay, stream class I have the filter method. So in that stream, what it receive only the predicate interface object. Okay. So what I did simply, I just we can't directly create the object for the interface. That's for sure. So I have to implement that interface. Okay, here I successfully implemented. What I did inside, I did my own logic. So I just want the even numbers. Okay, fine. I just overwrite here and I just implemented. From that I just passing that object. Simple. Right? Is that any doubt until now? Okay, now how can I transform this program? If we want to reduce the number of lines, how can we do that? Yeah. So what I'm doing here, so predicate implementation. First go with the anonymous class. So I just want an implementation of the test, right? Just copy the test only. Just do the my logic. Here what are things I don't want, so that new keyword and those things also are not required. So constructor also not required. Why? Because I am directly going to do the implementation, not a via constructor, right? Okay, fine. So here I don't need this. Why? Because there is no need to mention the my class name also, like how we did here, the same. Okay, fine. Now I am going to implement, definitely I am going to give the definition for the only one abstract method. So this method name also not required. So what I can do, I just use the lambda expression simply. So this additional things also not required. Okay. So if you are specifying that data types also not required, simple. So if here is only one parameter, parenthesis also not required. It's just only one line. So this also not required. If it is only one line, don't need to specify the return things also. Okay. So still I got one more error. So we'll identify that error. Okay, what is the error? So this is the things we know. Like if you want to reduce the on a detailed implementation class too, if it is just a functional interface, definitely it's going to be override only one method. So there is no need to specify the all things. I can simply return like this. This is called as a lambda function, right? So this is looks like correct, but if I'm running this code, I definitely I'm going to get one more error. Okay. So I'm just running my code. Okay. This is my code. Now you guys just do the same code from that error. Just understand the error. Try to fix it. Okay. So I can give a 5 minutes. So 10:25, 10:30 I will check. Let's check if you guys definitely go through the basic. Definitely you guys got the clear idea. Just to fix it. Because we know how the premises system works, right? The legacy system works. From that you just optimize the code. That is your system. Okay. So you don't have notebook, nothing. Just for listening or what is it? I'll get from. Is there any doubts? Okay, simple. So here I just need to pass the in the predicate. What I if you want to I okay fine, let's back to here. So in the filter method, what I have to pass predicate interface object, right? But predicate is the interface. I can't create the object directly. So I have to implement the that interface. Then only I can pass the object. Right? Object reference I can pass. Okay. So instead of doing this way, so this is the final way. If you want to implement, create the object and pass this object reference, that's going to work. But instead of doing this, we already know reduce the number of lines.
Go from top to class predicate implement means it's a like parent class.
Which one is a parent class?
Like predicate implement.
Predicate is an interface.
Interface.
Okay. I'm just implementing. Here, really, this is the legacy way. If you want to create the object for interface, what we need to do?
Create like class name.
Class name. Address name. Did we go through it actually? No. So what are the basics we cover? If everyone in the same state or what? Sorry?
Inside that we should add that number like operands.
Where I need to add the parameter?
No, number no.
Number? Added. Let me back to my legacy thing. So this definitely works, right? Is there any doubt here? So can run the code. I got the output. As a only even numbers only I got it. Right? There is no doubt. Next. Now here what I am doing is just a functional interface. Apart from that, nothing else. So definitely, there is no need to go with the new classes because we are advanced level. We already know. Okay. So how can we do these things directly? So where we did earlier for each string before the filter, are we did anything? So this is not a thing. I think for each, right? Let me uncomment this one. Still, you guys confusing or what? May I need to explain from the scratch or what? Tell the tone. After that, I will explain. Why? When you came the last session? Yeah, week before, right? Why? What is the reason? Sorry? Okay. So this is the one way, like I am telling. So here, in the list, okay, array list, we have one more method is called as the for each method, okay. So there is no doubt. So I want to use the for each method. How can we use? Just to go the definition and let's see that definition. For each method receiving the consumer type of parameter. Simple. If you want to call that method, you have to pass the argument as a consumer type, right? Apart from that, nothing else. Okay. I don't know what is the mean by consumer. Okay, go there. What is consumer? Consumer is a functional interface. We already knows functional interface in the sense it definitely have the only one abstract method, right? So what I need to do for that, if I want to call this for each method, you have to pass the object as a consumer. But consumer is a functional interface. Basically, not only the functional interface, by default we can't create the object for the interface. Why? Because there is no definition. Until unless definition, we can't create the object, right? Okay, fine. So now I want to do the implementation first for the consumer. Okay, let's assume. So I have to create the class consumer implement. Right? It implements the consumer. Maybe so this time I'm only playing with the integers. It's already there. So which one I have to implement here? As let's go and check which method is called as accept. We don't return nothing. So here public test. So what it receives, now it's going to receive the integers. Integer number. Fine. Okay. So what I have to do here inside, if I am receiving the one value, my goal is to just print that value. Simple. Apart from that, nothing else. Okay. So this is the, I'm going to override this method from the consumer interface. You can use the override annotation. Simple. Okay. What is the another issue? The type of consumer implement must be implement inherited abstract method. Integer in the multi-type, you can accept that type also. What is the issue here? Consumer implement must implement the inherited abstract method consumer.accept. Okay, not test. So the abstract method name as accept, so I have to implement. Okay, fine. So let's back to here. Forget this one. Not this. Let's not this one. Now I have to create an object for that consumer, then I have to pass. Right? Simple. So consumer. OPJ equals to new implementation. So here only I am going to get the object, so I can directly pass that object. Right? Is there any doubt? So type annotation also, if you want, you can give. So this could be the integer, right? Fine. So let's run my code. So compilation is done. Run my code. Now I am getting the output. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All the values. So what I added the values. So all the values is coming to the console now. Okay, fine. Now let's think. So this is the functional interface. So that's why you created the one separate class. But think about, so why I have to give my own separate class? Why? Because definitely I am going to implement the only one abstract method. There is no need for going to create a separate class. Okay, so what I am doing here, this is the implementation, right? And directly copy this one. Okay, instead of creating the object separately, I am just pasting this. Okay, apart from that, nothing else I did. So this is the things only going to happen, right? Okay, so if we want to make this one also, so let's understand the issue. So convert mismatch predicate in, okay, it's not a predicate, I copy the random things I guess. While I'm copying, no one can. Let me paste this. That's it. This is the consumer I'm going to do. Okay. So let's understand the issue one by one. Okay. So here what they are telling.
Can I ask to change the type?
Instantiate the type consumer integer. So what it means? How many of you know, like from the base, right? So I created the one class. Now I don't want the class, right? Why? Because if I am specifying this is the constructor, so it's already knows. Why? Because I am going to use that the type of that consumer only. What is my main goal? I am going to finally I am getting the consumer type object, right? So whenever if you want to create the object, you have to call the constructor. But interface constructor won't be there because there is no implementation. How the constructor will be there? There is no constructor. Now, what I did earlier, I just created the one class. Okay. Now, what is my thinking? So instead of going with a new class, why don't you give the whole definition while creating the object itself? Simple, right? But while I am trying that, I got this issue. Why? So what it is means cannot instantiate the type of consumer. So is that sorry?
In functional, we no need to specify that consumer interface because already in functional interface we have only
We have?
only one that accept.
I didn't get it.
In functional interface we have already only one constructor, so directly call that. We don't need to specify the.
Okay. So I no need to specify this one. Next. What is the next error going to be? So it's showing some syntax error. What is misplaced here? Here, one thing, I don't need to specify the which one? Name not required. Why? Because that is the interface. Interface definitely don't have the constructor. So there is no need to specify the name also. Why? Right? Okay. Then what is the purpose of the new keyword here? Can anyone tell the purpose of the new keyword? It's going to create a new object. So that is the major purpose. That sometime it will call the constructor. Right? So here instead of going to create machine going to create the object, what we are doing, we are directly giving the object definition itself. Okay, this is the your entire definition, right? Okay, fine. So still, what is the error? Sorry.
Record header name expected.
So what it is means?
We should remove the parentheses.
Parenthesis also.
Yes.
Okay, next. I remove the parenthesis also. What is the next stage? Why you have to do the each thing?
we need to give the provide the type of the consumer.
So is that a bit confusing or not? Or this is good? Guys, is there any functional interface things there? Let's create the one interface. Okay. So this will take something as will take as a computer. So this is the interface. So definitely going to have an abstract method. So we're not going to return anything. So it's just a computer. What it will do? Just code. Okay. So what I did here. This interface have the one abstract method. Why it is called as abstract method? There is no definition. That means that no open curly brace. There is no closed curly brace. Right? Okay, fine. So this is the only one abstract method it has. So can I tell as a functional interface? Right? Is there any doubt until now? No. Right? Now I want to create the object for that computer because I want to do the coding. Right? Okay, fine. Computer obj equal to new as a computer, right? Fine. So here we already knows the rules. Why? Because interface we can't create the object directly because it don't have the definition. Understand clearly? Okay, I won't repeat again. Okay, fine. So what I have to do? Tell. So we need to give the definition, then only we can able to create the object, right? Okay. So let me implement the class. Okay, sir. Computer implement. Okay. So here you have to use the implement keys. Why? Because this is the interface, not a class. Okay. So show the computer. Okay, fine. So which method I have to implement here?
Code.
Public void code. So it doesn't receive any parameters. So what I am doing, I am just doing the print statement. So this is the thing I did. So now what I can do, instead of creating the object for my interface directly calling the constructor, now I can create the object for the class. Right? So go to end. So s dot out as a why I am doing the print statement. So delete this. So computer obj dot code. Simple. Now I can execute the code, right? Java C. What is the public class name?
Interface language.
Interface. So my compilation completed successfully. Next, what I have to do? Let me go to the call my main class. So here flows I am coding. So until now, any doubt? Clear?
Yes.
Okay, fine. What I have to do next? Okay. So here, what I feel. So this is the I am going to create a new class. Okay. Let's implement our own creativity. What I have to do? So here let me comment this code. I don't need now. Okay. If you want, we'll do later. I will enable later. Fine. So here my main goal is what I'm doing as a computer. So then computer object reference equal to new. I'm planning to create the things for the, so if you want to create the object, you have to call the constructor, right? But here I don't have the definition, so instead of that only I created the class. Now why don't copy that implementation only here? Is it logic wise correct, right? So is that any doubt? So our main focus, it don't have the reference, so that means like I don't have the full definition of that object. Simple. So now that also available. Let's call my, okay, I changed the name. Okay, fine. So let's compile the code. Let's run the code. Flows and coding. Right? Now also it was working. Okay. Now let's think about the next step. First step is that any doubt until now? No? Clear, right? Okay, fine. Now what I am feeling here I'm going to give the definition for this computer only. Right? Fine. That also not required. I feel I am removing now. Okay, fine. Or else we'll start from here. Okay. Let it be the computer. We'll start from inside the method. So if we're going to give the definition of the only one abstract method, so that means this is a functional interface. Definitely we have the only one abstract method. So there is no need to specify the method name, right? Okay, fine. So that params also not required. Why? Because I am not receiving anything. Let's keep like this. Okay, fine. Now this is the only one line, so that also not required. So n, yes. So this different definition not required. So this is the things only until now I did. Apart from that, nothing else. Is that clear? Okay. So if I run this code, it won't work. So why? Because the syntax wise, the things wise, bit wrong. Our ideal logic was correct only. So if it is going to implement the only one functional interface, that is fine, it definitely going to work. But here I'm going to call the constructor only, but this is not at all required. Why? Because here I'm giving the definition directly. Instead of you are going to the class, load the class, from that you don't need to create the object. So the new keyword constructor also not required. So what you have to do, if you want to specify like this, you have to use the arrow. So this also not required. So this is called as the lambda function. Okay. So if you want to verify, you can call, you can run the code. So hey flows, it's working. Simple. The same concept. Is it clear right now? Is that any doubt? Is that any doubt until now? So how the code transform that to here? Simple. So instead of going to create this entire class, I can do the same thing here only. Okay, clear. Let's back to our old code. Okay. So this is fine. Functional programming. So here also, if I want to do, what can I do? I can. This is not at all required. We already know. So remove this. So this is accept. No need to remove this one. So what I have to use, if I want to go to the functional interface, I can use the lambda expression. Simple. I can remove this. Right? Fine. If it is the, yeah, we'll come. So if it is the only one line, yes. This also not required. So here this method name also not required. Right? Simple. Is that any doubt? So we have to know how the code transformed from the one class to simple only one line. Right? Okay. So here if it is the only one value you are receiving, there is no need to parenthesis also, type also no need to mention, simple. Okay, fine. You can reduce this println also. Okay, we have the option, you guys check it out. Okay, so now I got the consumer object. So what I need to pass the consumer object. So instead of doing that, why don't copy this? Why? Because I am going to waste the one object reference, right? One variable I am wasting. So instead of that, I can do directly. So remove this. So I think one more parenthesis required. Simple. So all of you guys, most of the time they will directly do this, but you must be aware of how the things came. Fine. Now for each gone. Let's back to our filter. So filter also same. So what I did filter. So now back to the filter. So how can I implement that one here? Numbers dot string. So I am going to definitely, if you want to pass the predicate object here. So now you can tell directly what I have to do. So filter, what it will receive? It will receive the, go there. Number string I commented. Okay, fine. So first I need a stream object. Okay, fine. Let's go to the filter. This filter receive the predicate interface. Simple. So you can have the only one abstract method. That means you can confirm and use the annotation itself, functional annotation. Right? Back to here. So that functional annotation receive the only predicates. Right? So here here what I did, I just use the predicate implementation. So what I can do, I can pass this object to that method argument. That only they are asking, right? You need to pass that object. So you want to specify what kind of object, what kind of values you are using in integer. You can specify, that is not an issue. Fine, that's it. So let's run my code. So Java C, compilation successful. So this is interface. Compilation. Let's run the code. Now, this is the first time I am printing the values until 10. Okay. So after that, I am doing the values only the even numbers. Okay. If you want the good readability, you can do some print statements in between. Okay. So now I don't need this. I will comment this. Until now, I will stop here. Until now, any doubt? Clear? Everyone's clear. All are still thinking or what? Is it clear or no?
What predicate ones?
Predicate. Okay. So in the stream, okay, stream is the, let's go through the stream also, no problem. So see, stream also one of the interface. What stream will do, I explained earlier, it just give the elements as a flow. Okay, like how the video was streaming, the same kind of things. Okay, so why it's helpful? You want to go with the value one by one. We already have the multiple things for each, so many kind of things already there. But if you want to use stream, there is a multi benefit we are going to get. What are those benefits? We have some predefined method like a filter, reduce, map. So those kind of methods we have. So we can play with that. Apart from that, nothing else. That is the major purpose. Stream APIs they introduced. Okay. So in the stream API, they have one filter method. So if I want to call the filter method, what I need to pass the predicate type of parameter. Simple. If I want to call, while calling the method, I want to pass the argument as a predicate type. Okay. I don't know what is predicate. It's not a primitive data type. So if I go and checking, while checking, this is the functional interface. So functional interface, I have to give the reference, but I can't create the reference directly for the functional interface. What I have to do? I have to create the class. Then I can able to create the object. Then I can able to pass that object reference. Simple. Is that any doubt? That's the thing only I am did here. Okay. So instead of what I am telling, instead of go and creating the class, giving the separate class, why don't copy this definition, paste it. Because here what I am doing just calling that constructor only, right? So what can I do? Stop doing that. I can directly do this. So this is the one line expression. So I have to end this line. That's why we are putting the semicolon at the end. Okay, fine. So let's check my code. Is it working? So I saved my code successfully. Let's compile. Let's run. So now my code is working. So what I feel, I want to reduce further. So that is the same story. So I am going to do the same thing. So this all the things not required because I am going to call this is the method. We can start from here also. You can start from the method itself. Why? Because you start from the method, there is no need to specify this is the access modifier. This is going to return this kind of things. Why? Because JVM already knows you are using this class. This is you are using this interface. This is a function interface. Definitely you going to override. So the return type, everything same. Internally, the set of instruction what you are going to define that method, that is going to different. Apart from that, nothing else, right? So that also not required in the method name also. Why? Because JVM already knows. So if you are doing like that, so there is no need to give the your constructor also. You can remove it. Simple. So what I can do? So this parenthesis I already removed, right? Now delete this. So if we are doing this one, we have to make this one as a lambda expression. Simple, right? So if it is the only one parameter, it receiving, type also not required, parenthesis also not required. If it is the only one line, cut. This also not required. So until now this is the things clear. From here I gave the things to you. Why it's showing this error? That is my question. So can I do like this? So can I do? So it means it can't able to process this is all the things are the same. This is the error or what? What is the error? Why that error was came? So I am doing some computation. If it is an online return statement also not need. So there is no issue from there. Okay. But if I am saving this, it's going to work or not? That is my question. But earlier why is showing the error?
We are not using the lambda function.
So that is the reason. What is the time? So I saved my code. Just call my compile my class and my code. So is it working right? Is that any doubt? Then why earlier it's not working? Anyone have that syntax, earlier syntax? Okay. So you guys just play with that thing. Okay, definitely you're going to reduce from the legacy to advanced model. Definitely you will get the errors. Okay, you just go through that error, you try to fix it. Then you will get a clear idea about that. Okay, fine. So like this is the only one method filter. So we have the multiple methods as reduce some kind of things. Okay, let's play with that methods. So now I got the even numbers. Dot. Okay, so let's play with the sum. You want to use equals also, you can use filter also. That filter we already played. Then gathers. Map is an important one. You guys just play with it. What is the map and other things. Now I can go with the reduce method. Okay. So this reduce method, what I am doing directly, just note it down. So what I can do, Here's some input. Input 1, input 2. So what is my goal? So I need a sum of the values. So input 1 plus input 2. Okay. So what is missing here? So this is the things we have done. Now let's go through the reduce method once. Okay. So what reduce method here it is receiving? First it is a identity. Okay. Then it receiving the binary operators. So what is the binary operators here? So just deep dive. So this binary operator also one of the functional interface, right? Okay, fine. So what they are doing, what is the functional interface in the sense? It definitely have only one abstract method. Where is that method? That is the subtract method. This is the comparator. Close Lambda exception. Okay, functional interface fine. So this is the binary operator implements the things. So where is the abstract method? So this interface there is no abstract method, right? Then how they specified as a functional interface? Is that question clear? So here in the top, they specified as annotation as a functional interface. Okay, but here if I am searching in the interface, so there is no abstract method. Then how can I call this one as a functional interface? Interface also definitely have the abstract method, right? But here I can't see any abstract method. Then how they are telling us this is a functional interface?
Extending from another.
Yeah.
It is extending from another class.
Other?
It is extend. The mention extends by function.
Okay, what it is called? This by function. Is that the class? What? If it is extends, interface extends another interface only. Go and check. What is this? So this is the abstract method. Let assume I have one parent interface. I am going to create a one child interface. So if that also, if you want to consider that one as a class, you have to define. In that you don't need to define. You want to create some other methods. You can create it. Why? Because interface in the sense definitely have the with the definition method also definitely has, with abstract method also it definitely has. There is no doubt, right? I am inherited, but still I didn't implemented the this apply. This apply I didn't implemented. I just implemented something as a min by, then max by. Apart from that, nothing else, right? Okay. So that's why they kept us this one as a functional interface. Okay, let's back to our code. Okay, so what is the purpose of reduce? So you can do the sum of the values. Like you want to do the comparison of the between the two values. You can do. You want to play with, like you have the list of elements. In that list of elements, finally you want the sum of the values from that list. So that thing you can go with the reduce. Okay. Initially, why I passed the reduce as a 0 here. Let's back. This is the identity. So identity is nothing but is the initial value. Okay. Apart from that, nothing else. Okay. So that one I am passing as a 0. Okay. Then what is the next value I have to pass as a binary operator type? So that is a functional interface. So what can I do now? So go with some legacy class. It is called binary something, right? Binary operator. Binary operator. Next, binary operator. only one abstract method, public, what it is returning. So let's go to the binary operator. So here it is not there, it is in the by function, the by function. So what is mean by this R, this T? What is that? What it is mean?
R might be written.
R might be written. No, it's not written. What? Represent the function that accept the two arguments and produce the result. Okay, then this is the two argument, then specialization of the function. What it is means?
Means it will take accept two arguments and return the result, produce the result.
Okay, this is the two arity in the sense. What is that?
Sorry, sir?
Arity. This is the two arity, like they mentioned, specialization of the function. What is that? Now I got the bit idea. It is saying the two parameter, two arguments. From that, it produce the result. Okay. After that, they mention some other things. Just to Google it, understand. Tell me now and explain to me. Quick. What is that? It only single abstract method. Is that is the meaning?
It will take two parameters. It is mentioned to.
Then no, I didn't get it. It takes the two arguments
Edit type.
at the
Type.
okay. Fine.
Type so one argument for type T and produces result for R.
What is that R I must?
Type of result.
Type of? Then they can use the T itself, right? Because T also working with the same thing.
Number of arguments or operands. A function or
Type of
a
first
return.
argument.
T is the
Type of first argument.
first argument.
It's only except one argument.
Okay.
R is written
Okay.
type.
Now the next question. You guys just go through it. What are the things until now we go through it? Like as a T and the capital R, capital T. Any other words? This is the most common things. T R. Now you just compare. What is the difference between T and R? Where can I use which one? Check it. Sorry.
Then it is not working.
As an input type, we can take T.
R
Result
refers
type.
to generic type parameter.
It accepts voice. Accept it. Why?
Okay. So R is
Simple question. Did you got the idea or? Simple question. Capital R also they used. Capital T also they used. What is the difference?
R is return type, T is input type.
okay. So
Apart from that, anything else?
it refers to a type parameter used as a placeholder in the actual interfaces or classes.
don't read it, understand from that. Yeah. Another thing, U also. Capital U also there. You just ask another question. So apart from that T, capital U, capital R, any other things are there?
Yes.
What are those? Oh, all other things. All guys are go through.
Yes.
Okay, now S was coming a bit loud. So okay, explain quick. I also got energy. Good. What is that?
Third type.
We are giving the first param. What you have to specify?
P.
Second param.
U.
Third param. Third param. Is there anything specified like that third param? So what can I use for the third param? Don't tell blink again. Just to check. Huh? Yes, sir. Quick. V. Next.
K.
K. Are you guys telling randomly or what? Ah. Binary.
W.
Okay. Why this guys is doing like this? Ask that one. Why they specify like that? What is the reason?
For the generic purpose, they use the names like T, U, and R.
Didn't get it. Quick.
Prevents logical mistakes.
Sorry.
It prevents logical mistakes.
Okay. So.
Reusable.
Okay.
Like
Any
when
other
you use
points?
the logical
It
operators
provides
like this, you can use
Provide the flexibility. Okay. So So if it is they have allocated this number of this is the range limit, only three parameters only. I gave like a capital D, capital U, and a capital R. This kind of things they specify, or any other things was there. Like what I'm asking, it only they limited only three parameters. They limited, or it has the multiple parameters also. What is the limit of the parameter for the method? A new question. Wait. Okay. So you guys come up with that. Okay. So let's stop here. Okay. You guys just do some things. Okay. So it will be bit interesting. So I gave the things to you guys. You guys just go through it. Come with the next session. If you guys didn't get the exact things, I will explain. Okay. It will you just a deep dive into that. I will ask more questions from that. Okay. Make sure in that. So like how I asked what is the limit of the parameter count. So like that I will go through all kind of things. So now I got the output. I'm just printing the value. So what I'm doing now, just functional programming, compile my code. I got the sum of my values. Okay. So here, just back to our understanding. Okay. What is this binary operator? Is the one of the functional interface. I just implemented as the apply. What apply going to do? It's going to receive the two arguments, right? Going to receive the two arguments and plus and return the value of the sum of the two parameters. Sorry, sum of the two arguments, right? Apart from that, nothing else. So here already we know instead of going to create this class, you can customize it. Okay. Now we don't need that customization as a step by step. I can directly do here. So how can we do now? So I am going to receive the two values, like our value as a number 1, comma num 2, right? This is the parameter I am going to receive. Next, I have to do the computation. What is the computation? So num 1 plus num 2, right? Is that anything else? Okay. Let's run our code. Back to here, clear the console, compiling, run the code. I got the output. But this time, you guys noticed it won't return the string, it returns the integer values. Okay, why it returns the integer value? So let me explain. So like that.
The type of the parameter provided as a key.
No, I don't really like that. It's not okay.
No, there is no. Okay, fine. So initially I specified one value as a 0. Here let me write our values. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Until now you assume like that, or else even values in the sense 2, 4, 6 was there. Okay, we don't know exact output now. So what this apply method will do, it's going to return the final value as a only one value as a binary some arithmetic computation it will do, and it will return the values. What I did here, so I just did the receive the two values, sum of it, returning. That's it. Okay. Then what this reduce will do, just to go through that. So reduce also one of the abstract method only. So it don't have any definition. But here it giving the some values like as the identity. What is mean by that identity? So the computation we are doing here, the next param, right? But here what we are doing, we are using only initial identity. What is means? Let's back to here. Okay. So you want to sum of the two values, right? Okay. I sum the value as a 3, right? Next I want the sum the value this 3 to this value, right? Then 6. Then I have to do with this. Then I have to do with this 50. But initially, how can I pick this value? This 2.
How is indexes?
I have to pass two values. But here, once I am doing first expression only, I am going to get one result. But what I need, initially I need a one value, right? If I have the value, already one value, from that only I can store it. Like that accumulation, how they doing, like you have the two values, get the sum of the two values, and if you have to store that 3 to somewhere, right? So already if it is previous value, you have to calculate, right? So this is 0 as the identity, where the previous value starts. Simple. If you kept it here as a 1, it will use for the multiplication. Why? Because for multiplication you can't use the, we'll go through that, only we play. Okay. So instead of doing addition, if I am doing the multiplication, what it going to do, what is the output? Output at 0. Why? Because if anything multiplied by 0, it comes 0, right? Simple. So that time what I need to pass as identity initially?
1.
So go through it. Compilation. Done. Right? Simple. So we have plenty of methods. So most of the time we will use filter, map, and reduce. I didn't explain the map now. So you guys just go through it. Okay. Like as a filter only. Apart from that, nothing else. Right? Is that any doubt until now? Is it clear? Okay. If it is clear in the sense, let's move to the next one. Okay. So singleton. So what is singleton? Anyone heard about this word earlier? Okay. So this is one of the design pattern. So always we are playing with the objects only, apart from the nothings. So whatever you need to play, you need a object. First of all, you need an object. Then only you can do with any manipulation you want to do. You need an initial object you need. But is that the efficient? Let's think about, we have the one configuration file or a DB file. So for that class, you need only one object, because database was only one database. For 100 users, you won't create the 100 databases. Definitely it is the one user. Let's go to the UI, that will be where or better. So let's assume this is my database as DB. Fine. Now you have one class as a configured class. So that class only able to give the object to you. Using that object only you can access the database via ORM or some other things will be there. We'll come to later that part. Now for this class, if 100 user accessing, is that good idea creating an object 100 times?
No.
Okay. If it is not, then what is the best practice? Creating a one object share to all the users. Okay. So there is a pros also, there is a cons also there. Okay. But we have to handle all the things, because bottleneck also will arise. So because 100 users coming, you are creating only one object share to 100 object. If it is synchronized in the sense, you have to wait. One user get the query, you have to wait for next user. Then it will be going like, there is a multiple issues also there. We'll come to that part later. Now let's understand the things. Okay. So this is the issue. For that issue, I told we can go with only one object share to all the places. How the static was working? It created only once and share the things to wherever it's need. It share the reference to all the places. Simple. right? The same way you want to play with the object. So that is a creation time. We have the one pattern called as a creational pattern. So that is the one of the design pattern. So design pattern is nothing but I already gave a brief overview. Now I just recall once. Design pattern is nothing but in the real world scenarios, plenty of issues will be there. They categorize the issue. So how can I fix those issues using these patterns? Simple, you have to follow this. I explained the repository pattern, right? Service layer, business logic different, database layer different, router layer different, like the same way. Okay. So here what this is specifically for the objects. While creating the object, how you have to handle those object creation. Simple. That is the major purpose. So first we have one method as one of the type. As in the creational design pattern, we have the first design pattern is called as a singleton. So singleton is nothing but it's a name itself. It have the single, only one. So that means only one object created shared to the all the places. Whoever need that object, you can share that object to those places. Okay, simple. Is that any doubt? Okay, fine. So how can we implement that one? So let's find create a one class like let me give us a db config. Let's make something as a meaningful. Okay, so fine, right? So this is my class. So here what I need to, if you want to access the db, like let's keep on method also. If you want to keep not the issue public. So I don't return anything. Why? So database connected successfully. Apart from that, nothing else. Forget the rest of the things. Now what I am doing here, I have to access the database connection. I have to create the class, right? As db config 1, db config 2. Now earlier I gave the example for the 100 users. Now only the 2 users. So that means, so for the 2 user I am doing the same, because that is only one time. If it is created, that is enough. There is no need to give the multiple times. We will come to that con area a bit later. So what are the disadvantages there? How can you overcome those? We will come later. Okay. Now let's focus on this one. So why I have to create the object 2 times? Because here there is no going to be the specific class, right? This is the common class. So you don't use all the places. What are the classes common? Those places only you can use. Okay, fine. How can we do that one? That is my first question. Okay, let's think about bit logically. Okay, so whenever this object was created, which one will be called? Which one? Constructor. Are you guys like that? Is this? Okay, whenever this object created, constructor will be called db config. So these things will be called, right? Okay, fine. If I make this one as a private, what is going to happen? If anyone can be able to create the object, okay. So then what is the purpose of the class next? My first things, why I made that constructor as a private, everyone can't create the object directly. So that is because how can I control that? Because all the places that guy using that same config class, all the places, right? So how can I control that one? Like of 10 files he used that same db config. Can I need to create, don't go to the user now, let's back to the code itself. I have the 10 places. 10 places it need to access the database configuration. So what you have to do, you have to create the object, right, separately. So now what I am telling, singleton pattern, you have to create the object only once, share to all other places. That is the goal. How can we do that? If I don't make that db config, I want to take a control first. I have to restrict. Then you have to come with this way only. You have to tell. Okay. Now if I restrict the private config db config, how can we create the object? Taking another object. If you want to access the private constructor, how can we access? Getters?
Setters.
Good point. Getters and setters. Okay, let me create on getter and getter. Set as not required. Getter only. Public static get instance. So this is fine. So here I made this method as a static. Can anyone tell why I made this one as a static? Okay.
Static.
Remove. I removed as a static method now. So now I need to access that method. For accessing method, what I need? Listen the question properly. I have a method as a get instance. Now I want to access that method from that class. What I need? If you want to access the class method, what do you need?
Object.
Simple. Now can I able to create the object? Yes, sir. How can you create the object? Create it. How is it possible? You can't call the constructor. That is private. That means within the class only it can be able to accessible. Outside the class it's not visible at all. How can we call that? How can you create the object?
So that's the reason we are using static.
What is the reason? What is happening? If I am using static, what is going to happen?
And use this.
Sorry?
We need to create
And use this third,
This?
this function.
This is not a function. This is the keyword. This is the keyword. I can't use that, right? How can I use it? First I have to call that the get instance method. How can we call that method? So if you want to create any class method, you have to need a, it's not a class method, it's an instance method. So how can you made this one as a class method? Here you can use the static keyword. No one go through the basics for sure. So what is the purpose of the static I kept in the main method? If I remove the static from the main method, is it going to work? Okay, why we make the things too complex? This is our starting point, right? I remove the static. Let's run my code. Java C. What is my class name? Singleton. Singleton patterns. Pattern.java. Oh, compilation happening successful. Let's do some out statement. It's out. Singleton pattern demo. But I got the output, right? This thing is bit weird. How? First of all, JVM needs to create the object for the singleton pattern class. Then only it can be able to access. I didn't create the object manually. Then how the object was created? While I am initially explaining the main method, if you remove the static method, that means it's not belongs to the class at all. It belongs to the instance. So JVM need an instance. How it's JVM created the instance?
Static makes the
Static makes the method belongs to the class method, right? Now this method, this main method belongs to the instance. So that means you need an object. But I didn't create any object. How JVM access?
so static what it does is it makes the main function accepts the object without object.
Yeah, that is fine. That is makes sense. Now I removed the static from the main method. Still, how it is working? That is my question.
Maybe we created an object inside.
That is singleton pattern. Because it makes sense, right? My question is makes sense. How? There is only one possibility. JVM needs to create the object by itself. Actually, is it doing? Okay. Okay. Today I am stopped here. So there is a one question. First question will be there were assignments. First assignments could be the type annotations, like using capital T, capital R. So you have to come up with a what is the purpose they did, flexibility. So there is a multiple kind of answers. Apart from that, until how many parameters they kept like that. So is this the only specified number of only like a 5 or 10 parameters only they give this kind of alphabet, or any other parameters also they gave. If you want to return as any functions, they gave any different types. Those things you guys go through it. That is the first thing. The second one is static keyword. Let's understand the deep dive in the static keyword. Okay. So I removed the main method as a static method. So I didn't created the object for also my main class. So I didn't created the any object for my main class, but still how it is calling my main method. Okay, so this is the assignment. You guys just go through it, come up with a clear idea. You have to master in the static keyword, how the object creation was work, where the initialization, like where is the program starting point, everything you guys master it. Okay, so after that, if you get the time, go through that stream APIs. The stream API, how many methods was there, map, reduce, filter, those kind of methods also you do some example by your own, simple. Okay, okay, we'll continue the rest of the things from the next session. Is there any doubt until now? Clear? Okay, we'll see some example from the singleton pattern, how can I achieve, okay, in the code. As a theory part now completed, we'll see the code. Okay, fine. Thank you guys. Is there any doubt? Okay. But I will write so many questions tomorrow. Prepare for that. Okay. Okay, guys. Thank you.
Tomorrow class is
Tomorrow Saturday. I forget. Okay, we'll see in the Monday. Oh, you.